everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to break down what has been reported about Ukraine's counteroffensives around Pokrovsk, what seems to have gone right, what claims are being made about Russian forces fleeing in panic, and how credible those claims appear based on what we know so far. This review aims to give clarity, separating confirmed facts, plausible inferences, and claims that are still uncertain. Ukraine has been defending Pokrovsk for a long time, recognizing it as a key strategic location in Donetsk. The city is important not just symbolically, but because it acts as a hub for transportation, supply lines, and coal production, especially coking coal, which is crucial for Ukraine's steel industry. Russian forces have made repeated attempts to capture or encircle the city, or else cut off the supply lines that feed into it. In recent months, Ukrainian forces claim to have regained territory in the Pokrovsk direction, even as Russian forces have mounted offensives there. In particular, reports say that in the Pokrovsk direction, Russian forces claimed some gains of around 5 square kilometers, while Ukraine is said to have recaptured about 26 square kilometers. This suggests that Ukraine is making effective defensive and counteroffensive operations in the face of Russian pressure. Some claims go further, that Russian troops are panicking, fleeing, even being routed in certain sectors near Pokrovsk. The idea is that Russian units are suffering heavy losses, being harassed, overwhelmed, losing cohesion, especially in the face of Ukrainian drone strikes, precision fire, and strong resistance. What we do know, Ukraine has used minefields, defensive barriers, drones, both for reconnaissance and as offensive tools, to impose costs on Russian advances. Russian forces have adapted by using fiber-optic tethered drones to try to mitigate electronic warfare interference and to get better range, especially to attack Ukrainian supply routes behind the front. Also, small Russian incursion/sabotage groups have reportedly tried to slip into Pokrovsk itself, but Ukrainian troops say these attempts were either repelled or neutralized. Now, about the claims of a full collapse or rout. Sure, there are multiple reports from Ukrainian sources and open-source intelligence that Russia has suffered losses, that morale among certain units is reported low, especially among less well-trained troops. But I haven't found reliable independent confirmation that Russian forces fled in panic, on a large scale, like entire units abandoning positions wholesale. Many reports still describe slow and grinding advances, heavy cost for both sides, fluid fronts, but not total collapse. One plausible scenario is that Russian forces are under pressure and in some sectors are retreating or pulling back, especially where Ukrainian counterattacks or fire support has made positions untenable. In those sectors, localized panic or disorder might be happening, but that is different from saying Russia as a whole is being crushed or that their entire force around Pokrovsk is breaking. Another key factor, geography and logistics. Pokrovsk is well fortified, partly because its defenders know its importance. Supply lines, risk of encirclement, access to roads and rail, reconnaissance by drones, these are all shaping the battle. For example, Russian efforts to control approaches south of Pokrovsk have sometimes aimed not at direct assault, but at severing supply lines, cutting off or bypassing Ukrainian defensive positions so as to force a worse logistical situation. Ukraine's responses include strikes on supply routes, use of precision weapons, fortifications. So what does seem credible, Ukraine has achieved recent gains in territory around Pokrovsk. Russia is under strain. Some Russian units may be withdrawing or being forced back. Some Russian troops are likely demoralized, suffering casualties, under fire from drones, artillery, and defensive prepared positions. What remains unproven, large-scale panic or rout across the whole front, reliable independent verification of Russian forces fleeing. en masse, whether the gains Ukraine claims are sustainable, or whether Russia has reserves or reinforcements ready to stabilize the front. Looking forward, a few things will determine how true the Ukraine crushes Russia narrative is. First, whether Ukraine can hold its recent gains without overextending supply. Second, whether Russia can bring in reinforcements or switch tactics. Third, how much external support weapons, intelligence Ukraine continues to receive. And fourth, morale, both among Russian troops under fire and Ukrainian defenders pushing forward. In sum, while the evidence suggests Ukraine is doing well around Pokrovsk and is imposing heavy costs on Russian forces, the picture is not yet one of total rout. Claims that Russia is fleeing in panic seem exaggerated unless localized. The conflict remains intense and dynamic, with potential for both gains and setbacks for both sides. If you like this breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button. Share your thoughts in comments. Do you think Russia will be able to regroup? And subscribe for updates, because this is one of the fronts to watch closely.